Okay, hello, welcome. It's Peggy Farron with Understand Photography, and we are going to talk about traveling to Tuscany, and specifically about a photo tour in Tuscany. But we're going to go through a lot of general information first because, some people have never been to even to Europe. So this is going to, go through some different just general things. Now, I do have some pictures from Tuscany that I took, but let me just tell you, Stefano is just such a better photographer than I am. I think I'm a better teacher than I am a photographer. So his stuff is amazing. So for the Understand Photography trip, it's going to be Stefano and me together leading the tour. So we're just going to go through some really general stuff first. If you're going on our tour, we're talking about flying into Rome, and this is the problem. Stefano's just getting on now because I can't pronounce any of the Italian words. Fiumicino?
Fiumicino.
Fiumicino. So if you're taking our trip, you're going to want to fly into Rome. But you know what? If you're just going on your own, I think Florence is actually closer. So
yes, is closer. More or less is the same from Rome or from Florence.
Is it really? Okay,
yes, we can go to Pienza, more or less is the same.
So you say it's pretty much the same distance, Florence or Rome?
Yes, more or less it's the same.
Okay.
From Pienza, maybe 15 minutes of difference, but it's the same. So take the same, the flight more comfortable for you.
All right. So anyway, but on our trip, we're going to fly into Rome, and Stefano is going to meet us there with the van to drive us to our villa in Tuscany. So we're all coming from different places, Michigan, Florida, wherever. So what we're going to try to do is just land around the same time in Rome. The main reason I decided on Rome is because it's usually the least expensive place to fly. Florence is fine, but it usually costs more money. There's almost always direct flights from the big cities into Rome. So, some people are talking about going early and staying a little bit in Rome first. And, I'm thinking about it too, so we'll see. So you definitely need your passport, and the passport has to be valid for longer than 6 months after your travel date, which I should have said after, not from. So basically what that means is if your passport, so our trip ends on October 5th. So your passport has to be good until, I'm so good at math, October, November, December, January, February, March, April 6th. Okay? So check that, because you might think you have more time on your passport than you do, because that happened to me. I had a trip coming up to Cuba, and I didn't realize that my passport was about to expire, because it just seems like it never expires because they last 10 years. And, I had to do a lot of overnighting and all this other stuff. And I was in Puerto Rico on vacation. It was just a big mess. So check your password, your passport. If you don't have a global entry, it's not required, but boy, is it nice to have, because especially in Rome, well, I guess it doesn't help you in Rome, but if you're in like Miami or a big city, sometimes the lines for TSA are so long. So if you get this TSA pre-check or global entry card, you just go right through that line, and it's really, really short. It costs, I think, $100 for 5 years. And it depends on where you live. When I tried to get it at a close airport, it was a 3-month wait. But then I looked, and I could get it in Miami the next day. So I just drove to Miami to get it, because it really does make your life easier if you don't have to wait in all those lines in the airports, which that's just not fun. And I wrote an article about it. So I will send this link out to you guys later. Let me write that down so I don't forget. So if you don't have it, does anyone have it? Put it in the chat box if you have a TSA pre-check or global entry. because it kind of go my little article on the blog just kind of explains how to get it. So yes, Susan says, yes, I love it. Yeah, gosh, it just makes your life easier. Okay, so this is all the kind of stuff that you need to look into. Of course, Europe is Italy is a first world country, so it's a very easy place to travel to for us. It's not like going to Cuba where you have to worry about every little thing like medical insurance, but just make sure you look into your insurance before you go just to see what's covered in case you do have an accident or something happens. It's always good to know what's going on and make sure you bring your insurance card with you. Travel insurance, we really, 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 really recommend travel insurance. So I usually go through insuremytrip.com, or there's another one called Squaremouth that just compares plans, and they have ratings in there and everything like that. The airline might offer a trip insurance, but that will just be on the airline ticket. So keep that in mind. Your credit card might offer some type of trip insurance. So there's a bunch of different things that you should check into, because it's not that cheap. I mean, it's not expensive either, but it's not that cheap depending on how old you are, because they hold it against you as you get old. I just hit 60, man. Everything's getting more expensive except for the discounts. Okay, so is it safe? I think in Tuscany it's pretty safe, right, Stefano?
Florence, so. Not like in Rome, however, you have to pay attention to the pickpockets. Also in Florence.
Yeah.
But just in Florence.
From Florence?
Yes, just in Florence could happen sometimes. Other places are very quiet and safe, no problem.
Yeah, they are really, really good, these pickpockets in the big cities in Europe. So you just have to, it's worth buying new bags.
I think everywhere in the world is a problem, not only in Florence or Rome. But Florence, however, is safe. Just pay attention a little bit more than the other places of Tuscany.
Okay, so just be aware that,
Yes.
be aware of that. It is a big issue. Okay, so money, everybody wants to know about the money. How do we get our euros? Do we get them here? Do we get them there? And from what I read, it's better to get them there. But you want to bring some euros with you because you want to have some cash on you. So, for those people who live here, there's a place right in the mall that you usually can convert money right at your bank. Bring, at least a couple $100. If you want to convert it all, if it's easier for you before you go, that's fine too. But it's pretty easy to convert money in Italy. Am I right, Stefano?
Frankly, I don't know. In Florence, there are some change office. In other towns, you have to go to the banks to change money. So maybe it's better to change some more.
Okay.
Or you can pay by credit card.
Yeah, and you can get cash from either ATM.
Yes. Also. I think it's okay. On the ATM, it's okay.
Yeah, the big thing, because this happened to me when I was in the Philippines, I was running out of money, and I don't have a debit card. So I tried my credit. I thought, well, let me try my credit card. And they're like, what's your PIN number? I'm thinking, I don't think I have a PIN number for my credit card, but I tried the one I use for other things, and it worked, thank goodness.
Yes, for the ATM, you need the PIN number, yes.
So make sure you know the one for your credit card. And we're thinking, probably you're going to just spend an average of $100 per day in euros. It depends. You're not going to spend a lot of money with us, but, we are ladies. We like to shop and pick little things up and things like that. So, or 100 euros a day, I should say.
Yes, I think it's okay.
So right now, the exchange rate is €1 equals $1.12, basically, for our money. I looked it up last night. Again, credit cards are widely accepted, although there are some places in the small towns that you need cash for. Am I right, Stefano?
Yes, some places you need cash. Mostly, however, shops and restaurants, they accept the credit cards. but not everywhere.
Okay. If you are bringing your credit card, just make sure there's no foreign transaction fee because they can really whop you with that. So, and then of
I
course,
don't know this. I don't know.
I know some of this stuff is just for
Yeah.
us as Americans traveling. Remember to notify your credit card company that you're going to be traveling so that they don't shut you down and say, oh, somebody stole your credit card. So what else did I say? It's a good idea to check what the card will cover while you are there as far as trip insurance. I did talk about that already. Okay. So I took this off of a website called An American in Rome, and I'm going to read it, and then Stefano can tell me if it's true. She says, while tips are almost always appreciated, leaving 18 to 25% after the fact would be far too much.
Yes.
A good rule of thumb is in a typical restaurant is about €1 per person. Does that sound right, Stefano?
Yes. Usually in Italy is not. We don't have tips. We don't use.
She said just definitely not for taxis. If you want to round up, you can, but people don't tip on taxis. What about tipping your tour guide, porter who carried your bag up 4 flights of stairs when the elevator, of course, you know, if you want to tip something, of course, tip something if you feel like somebody really went out above and beyond. And she just said that it's just more polite to tip with a note than with a coin. And since their notes are £5 and up, or €5, so that was her advice. She's got a whole bunch of advice on this website, which I thought was really good. And let me write it down. I will send that one to you too. Can we drink the tap water? Yes. Is everything safe to eat? Yes. Right, Stefano?
Yes.
Okay, September is usually one of the most pleasant months of the year to be in Tuscany. It's still warm with summer-like weather, but not hot. Air conditioning is that right?
Yes, it's right.
And so they say that most people don't use air conditioner because it's usually, and I converted this for us, Stefano.
Okay.
They said 25. They
I
said
don't know how much.
25.
25.
It doesn't go
Yes,
above 20.
yes, it's okay. At the end of September, yes, it's good. 25 or 20, depends.
Okay, so what to bring? Comfortable shoes, 2 pairs. Because
Yes.
believe it or not, shoes break sometimes. So just make sure you have 2 pair of shoes. Dress in layers. It can be
Yes.
hot, warm, and cold in the same day. And in fact, Stefano said that it is cold in the mornings, and we are going to do sunrise shoots almost maybe every day. Are we doing a sunrise shoot every day?
I hope, yes.
Okay.
Sure.
So it's cold in the morning, so keep that in mind.
Yes.
So I like those safari pants, you know, the nylon pants that convert to shorts. I don't know. They're comfortable because they're thin. They dry quickly. If you get wet, you can zip off the pants to use them as shorts. I just really like those. So I'm going to bring a couple pairs of those probably, and maybe some just other things too. Hiking boots if you want to. I'm not really a hiking boots kind of person. I'm just going to bring tennis shoes, tank top, and light shirt to wear over it, or UV protection shirts, and then a hat. When we first started going to Cuba is the first time I started wearing hats, and they keep you so much cooler. They keep the sun off your face. Such a good idea. Sunscreen, and of course, if you have any medications. Okay, so now you definitely need. Oh, Susan just asked a really good question. In Italy, and I can tell you the answer to this. In Italy, women must cover up their arms in church. Okay, so you know, I live in Florida. I wear tank tops up all the time. The first time I went to Italy, they give you like big pieces of paper to put around you because they feel it's disrespectful. So you must have long sleeves on to go to church. Is that true, Stefano?
Yes, it's true.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that's such a good question. Anyway, you need some type of adapter. And I'm going to send this link out to you too. obviously you don't have to buy this one. You might have your own adapter, but because we are photographers, we need more plugs. So this has got 3 plugs that, it's got 3 plugs, and then it's got 4 USB ports. Because I'm at the point now where I'm walking around with 2 phones. I've got a business line and a personal line. And then if you have a tablet, you can plug it into the USB, but then you can have, 3 different chargers going on for your cameras if you want. So I'll send this link out as well. But you may have whatever you need, just to let you know what you need, just trying to keep you just a little bit. This is just real basic stuff. The airport's going to have a cell phone shop if you want to get a SIM card for during your stay in Italy, if you know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. I did try to do that when I went to Italy 2 years ago, and it turned out at that time that you had to contact Apple like 3 weeks before your trip, and then they would unlock your SIM card or something like that, and I didn't do it in time. And I didn't look into it this time. I just frankly haven't had time. I did just switch to T-Mobile because of their international plan, and I got it for just 4 months. They said I don't have to keep it for a long period of time. So I'm hoping to travel to Europe this summer. We'll see what happens. So I figured I would just keep it through October, and it was $15 a month, which was fabulous rate. Now, I don't think I can talk, but I can have unlimited texts and data on that. So check to see what your cell phone provider was. I was on AT&T and Verizon, and they were both $10 a day, which is just too much money. But your cell phone will work all over. So T-Mobile and Google Fi have good international plans. I do have to tell you, though, it has been an extreme nightmare to switch to T-Mobile. And if I didn't have an Apple, I would have gone with Google Fi, but I guess Apple and Google don't talk to each other very well or something. So, but the best option is to stay unplugged and just enjoy your time away, right? The equipment precautions are the same thing as the pickpocket precautions, having good bags and paying attention. Now, if I didn't give a real good introduction of Stefano, but he lives there, and this is what he does for a living. He gives photo tours in this area and in the Dolomites if you want to go there with him. All right. So what do you need to bring as far as photography equipment? All right, here is my list. DSLR or equivalent, a backup camera. You got to have a backup camera. This is a photography tour, and if anything happens to your camera, you will be very sad. If you have 2 DSLR equivalents, that's best. But they do have these super zoom cameras that a lot of people like, and they're almost as heavy as a regular DSLR, though. So just don't think you're going to save weight. But they're nice because, like this, I think it's a Sony RX10. It's got like a 24 to 600 millimeter zoom on it. So it's it's a good option. I'm gonna put some links on the website. In Tuscany, here was the mistake I made because I didn't do a whole lot of research before we went, because I was going to Italy for a home swap for a month with a girlfriend who was not a photographer. But then while we were there, I was making plans, and I was like, oh, I want to see Tuscany. Look how close we are, because we were in Umbria. Anyway, I didn't have a right lens. I did not have a long lens with me at all. So Stefano let me borrow his, but, you guys need to bring your own.
I don't have it anymore. I changed it.
Oh, you did?
I changed the brand. Yes.
Well, I was very grateful because those were my best pictures, as you can imagine. Now Joe, when he went to the Palazzo, which is very similar to Tuscany, he brought his 300 millimeter lens, and he said he wished he had a longer lens. So I'm going to bring my 150 to 600 I've got this Sigma that I love. I got rid of my 400 millimeter, I had a Canon Zoom 100 to 400, and I just like this one so much better. And it's a lot less money. It was like $1,000. Maybe it's even less by now. I don't know. But they make them for both Canon and Nikon. So if you are going to buy a new lens, that's a really good lens. A
It's
circular.
big.
Pardon me?
It's very big and heavy.
It is heavy. But we're not
Yes.
going to be. I mean, when we're in the towns, we can leave that stuff in the van, right? Will it be safe?
Yes, I think yes, it's safe. No problem.
Because
Never
you're not going
happened.
to. And most of the landscape stuff we're going to be doing, we're not going to be doing a lot of walking. We're going to park and then take pictures. It's not going to be like hiking.
No, 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 no. The spots are very close to the parking, so no great hiking. No problem
Yeah.
for that.
So you're not going to have to carry that big heavy lens a lot. Your walk around lens for you need a wider lens for the city and the little villages and things like that.
Right.
So I wrote down walk around lens for the city. This could be your super zoom camera or lens 18 to 55. 24 to 105 is the lens I'm going to bring for my full frame camera for my Canon.
Sure.
So that lens, of course, is not as heavy. It'll be easier to carry. A circular polarizer lens for the, probably don't need it for your long lens, but maybe for your short lens if we're out in the bright sun or something like that, we might need those. If you don't have one, I should probably put a link for one of those in there too. And tripod, you need a tripod. And the better the tripod, the better. Am I right, Stefano?
Yes, you're right.
We are hoping to do some night photography. In fact, I forgot where I read it, but they said Tuscany was one of the best places in the world to do night photography. So that was kind of exciting. So we're just going to hope for some clear skies.
Hope maybe in September, October is better than summer for sure.
Okay, so we have a good chance of doing some nice night photography.
Yes, right.
I hope you guys aren't planning to do too much sleeping. We're gonna get afternoon siestas.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so shutter release cable. I should have put that all in caps. We strongly suggest a cable, not one of those remote releases, because let me just tell you what happens when we do a photo tour. Everybody gets their cameras on their tripods, and then the people who have the cable plug the cable in and they start taking pictures. The people who have the remote shutter releases, we spend most of the time trying to get those stupid things to work or trying to figure them out. We hate them.
You are right.
Can you tell I feel strongly about that? Because they're just not reliable enough. They're very, very frustrating. So the cable costs like $8 or $10. Just get the cable. Just make sure when you order your cable that you get the right one for your camera. Because I have different inputs on different cameras. I have all Canon cameras, but some of them don't take the same shutter release cable. So make sure you get the correct one. And Amazon makes everything so easy because most of the time they'll have a little thing that says, test this on your camera or something like that. So you can check. Laptop or tablet. I don't know if you looked much at Stefano's pictures, but I want to learn how he processes his pictures because they are freaking amazing. And I know he's taking good pictures to start, but he's doing something in processing to make them look that good. So we're going to have some Photoshop lessons and HDR but just keep in mind the internet is sketchy and not always available. I mean, that's something that we came across all over Italy when we were there 2 years ago. And I tried to have Stefano on the show and we just didn't have a good enough internet connection. So, I'm going to try to interview him while I'm there. I just bought a new microphone. All right, I'm almost done. We're almost done with the general stuff. Are we going to provide any equipment? And I thought I mean, we don't have this as a plan, but I will bring a flash. Do you have a flash too, Stefano?
No, I don't use
No.
for landscape or cityscape. I don't use it.
Okay, but I am going to bring a flash and some triggers, so maybe we can play around with some off-camera flash if we want
Okay,
to.
yes, yes. Sure.
So it's fun, and a
Yes.
reflector just in case.
Reflector, I have a reflector, so you don't need to
Good. I
bring.
don't. Those are bigger to bring. Okay, so what not to bring? Too much stuff. You are responsible for carrying your own bags and equipment. It's not a strenuous trip, but we will be walking quite a bit. And plus, we ought to get from Rome to the place, and just don't bring a lot of stuff. One of the things that's nice about all women is we don't wear makeup. I mean, you can if you want to, but I usually have lipstick and that's it because I'm not on vacation. I'll be working because I'll be hopefully teaching, but this is going to be a relaxing and fun photo tour. So this is our tour, what we include. I should say the minimum we include because, hopefully I'm going to get to Italy in August and have some time. I'm not sure because, as I think most of you know, I'm having a lot of problems with my dad right now. And I'm starting to run out of money is what's going on because I haven't been working very much. So we'll see if I can get there or not. But at least I'll have time either way to start thinking of cooler. And, Stefano has planned an amazing trip, but the more little lessons we can get in there, we're going to try. So we're going to cover a lot on landscape photography. There's a lot more to it than you realize. Cityscapes. And of course, like the little vignettes that go with the cityscapes when we're going into the villages, just trying to, train your eye to see these little vignettes that will make really, really fabulous photographs. Street photography, I mean, people in Italy to us as Americans are fascinating to look at. Stefano's like, what? But I mean, the customs are different. The dress is a little bit different. It's just kind of interesting. Of course, a lot of sunrise and sunset photography, Photoshop, Lightroom lessons. And yes, somebody just chatted saying they have Elements, and I know Elements very, very well. Just let me know what version you have before we get there so that I can make sure I brush up on that version because they do change things a little bit. But I have been teaching Elements every version since version 10. So I know Elements pretty well. I do use Photoshop as my main editor and Lightroom. So between Stefano and me, I think we know all about the different things. Rita's also asking computer, laptop, iPad, Photoshop. I have Elements. Okay, so a laptop is best because we do want to edit. So bring a mouse, or if you're one of the people who uses a trackpad, bring something so that we can actually edit. It's really hard to edit on an iPad. You can do it. It's just not as easy.
You are right.
Okay, so our tour, all of this is on the website. I'm gonna come over to the website too. But this is our tour. It's a small group. It's going to be limited to 7 ladies with hotels. Well, hotels I put, but it's just the one inn we're going to be staying. Transportation and most of the meals are included. You're going to have 2 of us helping, Peggy Farron and Stefano Caporali. How'd I do?
Yes.
I can't do Italian accent. Stefano actually lives in Arezzo. Is that right?
Yes.
So it's right there in Tuscany, and this is what he does for a living, does photo tours. And I learned a lot when he took me on a photo tour. Of course, I hired him as a private guide, which was really, really nice, but I only had him for a few hours. We're going to have him for a whole week, which is really, really exciting to me, just to spend a whole week there. Because I was there with a friend who was not a photographer. So, I mean, she was patient and everything, but it's just not the same. Stefano found a really cute old farmhouse that they've converted into an inn. So I'm gonna show you pictures of that in a minute. Airfare, visa, gratuities, and some meals are extra. Our price is $39.95 per person. So the name of the place we're staying is Palazzo Conti. Is that right?
Yes. You're
Okay.
right.
This is the winding road up to it. We're not sharing rooms, but they may put us in apartments. So they have like 2 or 3 bedroom apartments within here. So my guess, I don't know, I didn't ask. Maybe Stefano knows the answer. My guess is they probably had it as a rental home for a while and then realized that the tourism was a better way to go. So they're apartments. So you have your own separate bedroom and bathroom. I think there's one that has a shared bathroom, and that would be with me probably because I don't mind that. Um, but you never know if we're going to get that room or not. So you will have your own room, but and your own bathroom in most cases. The bed, it's just so adorable. I wanted to say, like, in that whole authentic feeling. So that you can view, you can go on their website and check it out. The website's right on our website. Where is Tuscany? It's right here. So here's Rome. We fly into Rome, and then we're going to be about right around here, you think? Right in the
Yes.
middle?
Yes.
Okay. See, when I was there, we stayed here just about 30 minutes from Perugia. So it wasn't far to Tuscany at all. It was maybe an hour and a half. It was awesome. But this whole region is just amazing. I mean, it's just amazing. It's so beautiful. What level of photographer do I need to be? Since we have such a small group, it doesn't matter, but I did gift everybody who signed up for Tuscany or who signs up for Tuscany. I did gift the 4 weeks to proficiency in photography. It's our interactive online class. So, obviously the more you learn, the easier it'll be for you ahead of time, but we will teach you while we're there as well. Now, the 4 weeks to proficiency teaches first how to shoot in the manual mode, then it teaches composition, lighting, including off-camera flash, and the fourth class, I always call it the techie stuff because it's like white balance and metering modes and things like that. That sounds scary if you don't know what I'm talking about now, but by the 4th week, it won't be scary. It's easy. So I highly encourage you to take that class. I mean, you don't have to take it when it's, like right now, we just started this week. The next one starts July 11th. You don't have to take it as a class. You can just watch the videos anytime, but it's better if you take it with the class, I think. Here are some of the things we're going to teach. HDR photography. Stefano does a lot of bracketing, so he's going to teach us some of his techniques. Slow shutter. We can do things like zoom blur, horizontal blurs, maybe panning, just those kind of, I already wrote those separately. I was thinking those went under slow shutter. Okay, panoramas, composition. We're going to talk about composition a lot because it's really important in landscape photography. You say, why does a Clyde Butcher landscape photograph have, more impact than mine do? And so we're going to talk about the compositional elements that are going to make the best landscape photography. Night photography, streaking lights, flash on camera we're going to talk about, understanding your circular polarizing lens, and of course, okay, Rita's asking wide angle lens versus long zoom. Okay, we did talk about that. You're going to want to have you're going to want to have both.
Yes.
So
You need both. Yeah.
Yeah, for the villages and the cities, you're going to need a wide lens, but you need a long lens for the landscape photography. What it does is it compresses the hills so they look like they're closer together and just gives it a nicer look. We're going to teach about editing, and we're going to learn Stefano's secrets because his editing is amazing. But I'm also going to talk a little bit about textures and blending modes in case you like this kind of stuff. Obviously, you don't have to use it again, but it's nice to know about it, how to do this kind of stuff. I did this literally yesterday. I was trying to I'm trying to get my Instagram scheduled through the summer because we recorded all of the Understand Photography shows through the summer, except for I got one more to do. So I was trying to put every Friday on Instagram, but on Facebook, I put I put the guest picture on and I say this is, but on Instagram, I don't think that's kosher. So I thought, well, I have to have my own picture. So I tried to like duplicate Nancy Aben's look. And this literally took me about 2 minutes to do this. So, and I thought it came out pretty cool. I was pretty impressed with myself. And this is part of our ladies' weekend when we do in Naples. We usually try to make a little postcard looking thing. So we're going to just do some things like that. Learning about masking, blending, HDR. Now, if you don't have any editing software at all, Photoshop Elements has a 30-day trial. So don't do it now, but you can download Photoshop Elements right before the trip, and we'll teach you how to use it while you're there. I think Photoshop has the same thing if you want to do Photoshop. Just remember that Photoshop has a $10 a month. Photoshop and Lightroom come together for $10 a month. If you are a hobbyist, I recommend Photoshop Elements because it costs $100 one time, and you can keep that software for several years before you upgrade it. So it's up to you. We're going to teach on all of it. And Photoshop Elements will do almost everything that Photoshop will as far as photography goes. Now, Photoshop Elements does not do all the graphic design things that Photoshop does, but as photographers, we don't use that stuff very often. And remember, I told you, I got all the pictures from Stefano, except the ones that had nothing to do with Tuscany. You must be in good general health because we are going to be doing quite a bit of walking, although not at a strenuous pace. The main time we're going to be the main time we are going to be walking is when we're in the small villages. And in that case, if you get tired, you can just find a little cafe and just sit. So it's not strenuous, but if you're in better shape, of course you're going to get more out of it because you can go around every little nook and cranny in the village if you want. So just keep that in mind. We already talked about 7 participants plus Stefano and me. Look at this. Isn't this awesome? Now, did you put an effect on that to make it all like glow like this, or is that fog?
It's fog.
Oh, it looks
warmer water. Yes.
And then this is a slow shutter speed.
Yes.
It is so beautiful.
Long exposure.
Love it. I love it. I love your work. I mean, I just love it. It's fabulous. But here's a good example of what I was talking about compressing the landscape. Because if you took this picture with a wide lens, you'd have a lot of this. And this would be so tiny you could barely see it. So by using a long lens, it just compresses everything to make it look a little closer together. So it just comes out so cool. Anyway, so a typical day, how much touristy stuff versus local flavor? I don't think we're doing hardly any touristy things, are we? Maybe the wine. Is the wine touristy even, Stefano?
Maybe also. Why not?
But it's going to be more local flavor than touristy type of things. I mean, the touristy things are in Rome and in Florence if you wanted to expand on the trip. And Stefano sent me information on that so that we could offer an optional, extra maybe 3 or 4 days afterwards. And to tell you the truth, I just haven't gotten to it. Anyway, will we have downtime? And actually, the answer is no. We did not leave any time for you to relax. I'm just kidding. But we did not leave any time for you to go out exploring on your own. So I think if you want to do that, you want to plan to stay a little bit, because our trip is so short. I mean, it's enough to get you immersed and get amazing pictures, but we want to make sure that we get you to all the best spots. So if you want to take a half a day off or something like that, we suggest that you do it after or before the tour. Stefano, what town is this?
San Gimignano.
San Gimignano.
Yes.
Oh, and we're going there. That's on our tour.
Yes. It's in the plan.
And again, with the long lens, how it's compressing the cityscape. You see how everything looks close together and looks so much cooler? It's with that long lens.
Yes, it is.
And it said, will you have suggestions? And yes, the answer is yes, because Stefano lives there. He's going to help us a lot on different things that we want. And plus, hopefully I will get there in August too. So what's included in our trips is 7 nights accommodations, all transportation in Italy. Stefano found a nice van, a 9-passenger van, so we can all be nice and comfortable. All breakfasts are included, 5 lunches and 4 dinner, and of course, photography instruction. What will I have to pay extra for? Airfare, 4 dinners altogether because of the day before each. Anyway, alcoholic beverages, although some wine is included. Tips, money exchange, any gifts, and travel insurance. Did I miss anything?
No, you're right.
I think we all should try to get this picture right here. Isn't that a cool picture?
I think it's a composition.
Yeah, I like it. What is the average cost for airfare? Now, I only checked Miami. I checked this last night because unfortunately I just got to doing this last night. It was from $572 to $749 was basically what round trip was with either nonstop or one stop. Now, it was much more expensive from Fort Myers. So, you know, flying into Rome seems to be the best bet, and flying from a big city seems to be the best bet. Now, what I use flights.google.com, and that usually gives me a good overview of what's out there, but I also subscribe to a subscription called Scott's Cheap Flights. So if I see a cheap flight, I'm going to send it out to you guys. Okay. And you guys, like in Michigan, tell me what airport you would fly out. Do you drive all the way over to Detroit, or do you go out of Grand Rapids, or how does that work? You'll have to let me know. Or maybe I could just check both. Chicago. Oh, that's right. You guys are close to Chicago. Oh, I bet there's cheap flights from Chicago. Yeah. Kathy, I don't know where she flies out of. Probably the same. Okay. Okay, so I'll keep my eye out for that too. So from here, I'm going to take us back over to the website just to go through the itinerary real fast. If I can figure it out. And I should have had it ready, but I'm so sorry I don't. I should have had it ready. Just going to start with day 1. After settling in our villa, we're going to head out to photograph the sunset. And Stefano, you do the Italian words because I can't do them. My mouth won't do Italian.
Val d'Orcia.
Val d'Orcia.
Yes.
We head to, it says our favorite photography spots, but of course those are Stefano's because I don't know them yet. He took me to some of them, but I didn't memorize them. But including the road showcased in the movie Gladiator. Yes. Now, of course, this is subject to change. We might not do this. We might do this restaurant a different night, whatever. But we're going to go to Pienza because Pienza is a very popular small town in Tuscany. So we'll eat there.
Yeah.
Day 2, we're going to get up for sunrise before sunrise in Val d'Orcia.
Val d'Orcia.
Val d'Orcia.
Orcia.
It's hard for me. I don't know why. Val d'Orcia. And then, all right, how about this word?
Castiglione d'Orcia.
Castiglione d'Orcia.
Yes.
A beautiful, quaint village at the top of a hill far from the tourist route. From there, we can see the whole Orcia Valley. Did I do it good?
Good.
Orcia. Back home to review photos and for some editing lessons, followed by lunch in
San Quirico d'Orcia.
Ooh, and is that another small town?
Yes, like Pienza, more or less.
I love those small towns. When we were in Italy, when Vicky and I were in Italy, we stayed in Umbria, and we just every day almost we went to some small little town or village, and we loved it. It was so much fun. They're just like little. Everywhere you look is like a postcard. It's so beautiful. We'll spend the afternoon and evening shooting the countryside before heading to our sunset location. So we'll obviously do a sunset shoot. Again, we're going to do on day 3 another sunrise at Belvedere House, the most famous Tuscan landscape spot, before heading back for breakfast. In fact, I have a picture, I think, from this area hanging up in my Airbnb, one of my Airbnb rooms, and everybody who stays there is like, oh, I've been there. Then we'll visit and photograph Bagno Vignoni.
Yes.
I said it right?
Right.
Wow.
Bagno Vignoni.
Now, what does that mean? Because baño in Spanish means bathroom.
Yes, because there are some spa there.
Oh, spa, not bathroom.
Yes. No bathroom. No.
By the way, speaking of bathrooms, I did not care for Italy bathrooms, so just be prepared, ladies, that they were not the most glamorous of bathrooms anywhere in Italy. I was so happy because my next trip was to Ireland, which of course was cold, and anybody who knows me knows I do not like to be cold, but the bathrooms were worth it because they were nice. In Italy, the bathroom's not so great. So go to the bathroom in our inn if you can, but you're going to have to go probably in one of those places. We'll hope for the best. And what is Bagno Vignoni? Is that a landscape place?
It's in Val d'Orcia, very close to Bagno Vignoni. There are many spots for landscapes, and Bagno Vignoni is a little, very small village.
Okay. So it's a small village, and there's a lot of good landscapes around there. We're going to go to Serrano, another village with opportunities to shoot the quaint alleys, stone walls of the houses, and so on. It is one of Stefano's favorite village, not so tourist-driven, one of the best Tuscan villages for photos. That's why we're so lucky to have him, because I know a lot of American photographers who do Tuscany trips, but I mean, he lives there. Stefano lives there and does this for a living. So he's out exploring places, cool places to go all the time. Okay, we'll also go to, I can't do it.
Pitigliano.
Pitigliano.
Yes.
Another fabulous village for lunch and more photography. We'll go back to Val d'Orcia.
Yes.
I did it. Day 4. Start again with sunrise at
Crete Senesi.
Crete Senesi, and have breakfast on the road. Then we're going to go here, which was that picture that Susan was asking about. Say it for her.
San Gimignano.
San Gimignano.
Yes.
What I learned is this when they have a G and an N together, it's the Nye sound, like nya, right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay. So we're going to get there before the tourist, because that is a touristy area. So we are going to get there early so we can get inside and outside the village before it gets too crowded. This is in the Chianti area with many vineyards surrounding the village, which we love. Pictures of vineyards are kind of cool too. Lunch will be at Farm Poggio all'Oro.
Yes.
I did okay?
Poggio
No, I didn't. Okay.
More or less.
Authentic homegrown produce, meat, and homemade pasta. Of course, we have to have a lot of pasta while we're there. A beautiful terrace where we can see the skyline of San Gimignano on a clear day. That's awesome. And if we have the long lenses, maybe we can get a shot from there. Is that true?
Just for the view, maybe, not for photos from there.
Okay. After lunch, we'll go either Volterra or Colle. I don't know. Go ahead.
Volterra and Colle Valdelsa.
And I don't even think I could say that word.
Yeah, Etruscan.
It's Tuscany village. Again, another sunset shooting. End the day with pizza, because you got to have pizza too. We got to have the pasta, pizza, and wine. Right? Those are required to eat when you're in Tuscany. I think when you're in Italy in general. But you know what? I like Italian beer. I learned. I'm trying to remember what I liked. It was really good. Dang, I can't remember. Okay, Val d'Orcia sunrise at Cipressi di Torreniere. Ah, how bad was
Good,
that?
good.
Go home for breakfast, review photos, more editing lessons. Lunch is going to be there. Maybe we're talking to them about giving us a cooking class because we thought that might be fun because we're trying to think of like fun, unique things to do. Going to rest in the afternoon, and then we're going to go back out for sunset and dinner. And then this is also a picture I have hanging on my wall. Vitelletta.
Yes, Vitaleta.
Vitelletta. Sunrise shooting at, it's just that my pictures aren't as good as Stefano's. That's why I put all his in here. Another sunrise in the morning. Breakfast on the way. Going to go back to the Chianti area, see some villages, more landscapes, things like that. Lunch at a castle. Did you notice I'm not even trying anymore? And then, of course, sunset shot again, because the sunset is just such beautiful. Oh, and this is the Cappella. What is this called again?
Vitaleta.
Vitelletta.
Vitaleta.
Beautiful. You guys have probably seen this picture, or similar pictures, I should say. Breakfast at sunrise, breakfast at home. I'm going to go back to Pienza to spend a little more time in Montecello. We're going to have lunch at a farm. Another delicious and authentic Italian eatery. We'll spend some time in Montepulciano. And then back to Val d'Orcia. Dinner around Pienza, and our last sunrise shoot on the Gladiator Road spot, revisiting our first location because it's worth it to see it both at sunrise and sunset. Back for breakfast and check out. That's our plan as of right now. Of course, we're going to make little tweaks to this as we go, because we always do. We need a minimum of 5 people, so we have 4 who are paid. We've got a couple of people on the fence, so as soon as that 5th person pays, we can start looking at airline reservations. We want to make them probably around July 1st. They say that's about the right amount of time to find the best fares. So we want to try to go in on the best fares. Okay. We talked about all of this. Remember, your transportation from Rome is included as long as everyone is ready to leave Rome within 2 hours of each other. I mean, we can stretch that if it's not exactly 2 hours, of course. But we are going to try to get flights at similar time. Or if you go early, just let us know. Okay. Back to here and questions. Will we pass? Okay. Will we pass through Siena on any day? Siena. Were we talking about Siena at all, Stefano?
No, we pass from Siena.
So we are not going to Siena?
No, we go.
We are going to Siena. Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions? I just put to the end. I just put some of Stefano's photography in here and you see all this fog. This is why we get up early, because that only happens in the morning. Am I right?
Right. To see the mist, you have to go there in the morning.
And just the color of the light is so pretty. This time of year is such a pretty time to come because some of the crops have been harvested, so you've got a lot more contrast in the colors than you would in the spring. In the spring, it's beautiful too, but it's all green, right?
Green everywhere, yes.
So here we've got lots of contrast. I want to get this shot. And of course, I want as many pictures with Italian cypress as I could get because I love this. I love them so much. Will we be able to nap in the afternoons? And the answer is not every single afternoon, but yes, because I can tell you I'm going to be tired. And I think it's easier to nap when you're not at home. I can never take a nap when I'm at home, but when I'm away, I can take naps. So what else? I love this. You've even got the colors from the shadows in here. Now, why do they do this? Put these little clumps? Are these surrounding a house or something? Is there a reason?
I think for photographers. I don't know. Just for us.
Because it is so pretty. And this is the The
Vitaletta. Vitaletta chapel.
Vitaletta,
Yeah.
the chapel. So pretty. So we're going to do that at night, you said, right? Did you say we're doing this at night, Stefano?
Yes, yes. The night also.
Okay. So do they have a light on it?
No, no lights there.
So do we use the light painting, like a big flashlight? Is that how we do it? How do we do it?
Some light painting maybe.
Okay. And if you guys have never done that, it's so much fun. It's so fun. Now, is this a private residence?
Yes, that one, yes, but we can walk around the chapel, no problem.
Even at
But,
night?
yes, yes, yes. We can go.
Okay. All right. So let me see. I got some questions here. Let me just make sure I don't miss any. I'm going to start from here. Okay. So, do we bring laptops? Yes. Okay. We want to, and I'm going to send a link. Of course, if you have Photoshop or Photoshop Elements or Lightroom, whatever you use, well, actually, you need Photoshop or Photoshop Elements, one or the other of those two. So if you don't have those, wait, unless you want to get it anyway, but wait until, like the middle of September, because you can get a 30-day free trial of either Photoshop or Photoshop Elements. So you don't have to pay for it if you decide you don't like it. So we can teach you. Of course, you're going to like it. Let me just tell you that. You're going to want one or the other. And again, I recommend, if you're not using Photoshop, or if you're a hobbyist, Photoshop Elements is fine. You buy it one time and then you can keep it for a few years. But we're definitely going to have editing lessons. So the editing lessons, you need a laptop. You can't really do it on an iPad or a tablet. Cypress is around cemeteries often, Rita said too. Okay. Because they got these little clumps here and there, and it's just like, why do they have those? I wonder, because they're so pretty. What I really like is, let me see if I can find one of Stefano's pictures. I like when they're the winding, like this. These winding. It's so pretty. I definitely need one of those shots too, Stefano. Like that. That's amazing. I want to copy all your shots. Do we have any other questions? I'm going to go ahead and I am going to put this. Okay, so our website again is understandphotography.com, not understanding photography, understandphotography.com. So if you go onto it, you'll see tours and classes, and just click on trips and tours. And then you'll see the Tuscany tour. I am going to embed this video, if I can remember how to do that. I don't have any helpers right now. But I'm going to go ahead and embed this video in here. It might take me to Monday if I can't figure out how to do it by myself without Heather or Katie, because Katie did teach me how to do it on Thursday, I think, but I'm not sure if I remember. But I'll have it on YouTube as well. So I'll send the whole recording out, and then it'll be here as well. Okay, I'm getting some more questions. Okay, Greta says Lightroom, and she said something about that before, but I don't really understand what you're saying. Lightroom is fine, and we are gonna do some Lightroom work, but you definitely need Photoshop or Photoshop Elements as well. You don't have to buy it. You can just get the 30-day free trial. But if you already are subscribing to Lightroom, then you have Photoshop. It comes with your program. Okay, here's another question. For the 4 dinners, will we be buying food in the villages to take to the agriturismo? For the dinners that they have to buy, Stefano?
No, the agriturismo, they have the restaurant there, so we can have dinner there also.
I think what we're doing a lot of on those days is going to be playing it by ear, and we're probably going to stick together and go to a restaurant, but it's not required, because I know on one of the Cuba trips, fortunately, I was not leading the trip. Joe was, and I went as a co-leader helper, and I got sick. I just had the flu or something. So I did, one day I had to take completely off because I was just really sick. But then when they went out to dinner, I just stayed back at the hotel and just kind of got soup to bring up. And, sometimes you just might not want to go out. So if you're tired. We are, we're going to try to get nap times in, but we are trying to cram a lot of stuff in at the same time. So we wanted to leave it kind of open for everybody. Another complaint I had about my most recent Cuba trip is we just gave them too much food. So that's something that, there's something else to think about. Not everybody wants to have 3 big meals a day. So it's just us. It's just a small group. So we're just going to mostly play it by ear. Like, what do you guys want to do tonight? Here's what, except for the times we have things planned. So do I have any more questions? Oh, cheese, fruit, and wine works for me. That sounds good to me too. And olives. I need olives. I love olives. When Vicky and I were in Italy, we ate so many olives, it was stupid, because in the grocery stores they have like all these different olives and different different stuffings in the olives and different oils or seasonings that they put them. Oh my gosh, they're so good. Oh. All right. Well, again, I'm Peggy Farron. Understandphotography.com is our website. And thank you so much for spending the time with us. We hope that we gave you some good information. I'm probably gonna edit this a little bit because we had some gaps and things like that, and then I'll get it up as soon as I can. So I'm so excited. This is making me more excited to go. And Rita, if you like cemeteries, I love cemeteries. So maybe we'll hit a cemetery while we're there, because I love old cemeteries, and they have a lot of old stuff in Tuscany. Anyway, some people are creeped out by cemeteries, but I'm not one of them. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Peggy Farron signing off.